How much should I be spending on advertising? Oftentimes, when someone starts a new wedding business, they invest a bunch of money in the tools of their trade, their cameras, their speakers, their lights, whatever they need to do what they do. But then they allocate little or nothing to promoting that new business. But in order to do what you do, you first have to find someone to buy what you sell. And that means you have to get the word out. You might think that your work speaks for itself, but it doesn't if no one is listening. There are lots of ways to get the word out about your business that are free. But know that if you only advertise on Facebook, Thumbtack, Craigslist, and other places that don't cost you any money, you shouldn't be surprised when the couples who call you don't have any money. Most people find that the free things don't work very well because everyone else is doing them too. It's so easy to get lost in the clutter. It's extremely rare to find a wedding professional who has been able to build a truly successful business based solely on free social media advertising. A truly effective marketing program combines the free opportunities with those that require an investment. Before we go any further, let's clarify one thing. Advertising, whether it's free or paid, does not bring you business. Advertising only brings you leads. Advertising only facilitates that initial connection between you and the prospective customer. Your ads in bridal magazines, your listings on wedding websites, your booths at wedding shows, your website, their only purpose is to create interest, to get the prospective customer to respond to you, to get them to step forward, raise their hand, and express a desire to learn more. Once a prospective customer has noticed you, that's when the sales process really begins. You then have that all-important task of converting a lead into a customer. It's a three-part process. First, you have to capture the interest of the prospect and get them to reach out to you for basic information. Those are your warm leads. From there, you'll get some of them to go further into the sales process, say by coming to a tasting or an appointment. Those are your hot leads. Then ultimately, you'll convert some of those into sales, into customers. Let's reverse engineer this. I'm going to use some pretty typical numbers, but I suggest that you do this calculation for your own business with your own numbers. But let's say that your goal is to do 50 weddings a year. Let's assume that when you get someone to meet with you, you can close the sale half the time. Let's also assume that you typically have to connect with 3 people before you can get one to come into an appointment. In other words, you need 3 warm leads to get 1 hot lead. This means that to close 50 sales, you have to generate 100 hot leads. And to get those 100 hot leads, you have to generate 300 warm leads. So how much should I be spending on advertising? Spend as little as you can, as long as it gets you those 300 warm leads. If you want to get those 50 weddings, you just need to focus on what you need to do to get those 300 people into your sales funnel. If you do more advertising than you need to, you'll get more people in your funnel than you need to get to your 50. If you do less advertising than you need to, you'll never get those 50. You cannot obsess about how much your advertising costs. Rather, you need to obsess about what you have to do to get those 300 warm leads. Don't be afraid to raise your prices to do a little bit better marketing. You will never regret that decision. When selling to weddings, you are selling to a very, very small segment of the population. Less than 1% of the population is getting married at any particular point in time. Your advertising has to be very laser focused on this small audience in order to be effective. Not all advertising is created equal. Some magazines have larger circulations than others, some websites get more traffic than others, and some wedding shows get more attendees than others. It's not just about how much you advertise, but also how effective that advertising is. The secret to coming up with the best advertising mix for your business is to keep careful records of what works best. You do this by tracking your leads, and that simply means asking every prospective customer how they learned about you. That way you can shift your advertising into the things that work the best. We dive deeper into this in our Track Your Leads video.